Welcome to Gold Coast Insider, where we bring you business insights, stories, opportunities, and forecasts from movers and shakers across the Gold Coast. I'm your host, Estella Rodiguero. I'm CEO of Regional Development Australia Gold Coast. Welcome, and my guest today is Maryann Thexton. Maryann is CEO and founder of BioAs and is a seasoned executive with over 2 decades of leadership experience in the Australian equine and the FMCG, which is the fast-moving consumer goods beverage industry. Welcome, Maryann.
Thank you, Estella. It's lovely to be here.
Look, this is going to be so interesting because you started your career as a beverage company and you built it from 5 people to 300 people, which you then sold to Coke. So instead of relaxing and traveling the world and thinking life was grand, you decided to do a complete career change and become a professional thoroughbred racehorse trainer. Now, you initially started with 27 horses and no clients, but you successfully grew that to 300 owners and managing a stable of 60 horses. You did that for 13 years. Now, I want you to talk to that. How does beverage come into racehorse training? And then I want to talk about the chance meeting at a wedding. Okay, so how did all this happen? This is an amazing story.
Well, yeah, I have had a passion for horses since I was a little girl. So obviously that is never leaves you. And I had some parts of my time where I was working in the horse industry as a younger person and got some experience and mentors. So it was just an opportunity for me to really follow my passion. And I was very fortunate. I got introduced to Gai Waterhouse, and she's a wonderfully generous woman and gave me a sabbatical in her stable, provided a platform of mentorship for me, which I've never forgotten or eternally grateful for. And so I just threw myself in, as Gai said, don't dip your toe in the water, put your whole foot in, and away I went.
I think that's been your saying for the whole of your career, by the sound of it. So you started your career as a beverage company. So can we talk about what that beverage company was or is?
Yeah, so a company called Beverages, and we started it as a family business, and it was a great experience because it gave me an absolute ground up management from production, warehousing, sales, marketing, finance. We had to do everything where many hats, made a lot of mistakes, but also made, some very successful decisions along the way with the business. The idea was to get bought out. We thought it would happen in 5 years. It took 13 or 14 years. But that journey was real life business building experience that, I've relied on moving forward in my careers, both in the racing industry and what I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move on. We had a beverage company. We're managing a stable of horses, and a chance meeting at a wedding led to another career change.
Yeah. So I think by then, after 13 years of training, I was considering a change. My children were young adults, and it was quite restrictive on lifestyle. And one of the owners that I trained for, by chance, a friend of friends' daughters sat next to someone whose father knew someone who knew a microbiologist that wanted to try and develop or had worked on a horse supplement. And I was offered a 5-litre sample of this odd-looking black liquid and asked if I would try it on one of my racehorses. And I was very reluctant. Trainers are very reluctant to introduce anything uncertain into their horse's diet or supplement regime. And then probably about 6 months later, it sat unopened. I had a horse in the stable that was at the end of his training preparation and ready to go to the spelling paddock. And I thought I'll just try this supplement on him and see how it impacts him. And within days, I saw this horse's coat brighten and his whole demeanour change. And I went, you have my attention. So I tracked back to the microbiologist, and he's now one of our co-founders in our team. So that's how that connection came. And we actually took that product to market for animals, for horses primarily. I shut down. And we took that product to market, and it's very successful today in a business called Dynamite. And that's how this whole connection
started. Right. Okay. So then you've decided that product needed, you could take that product to market. And then we'll talk about that evolution into where it is now. But when you decided to change over to, the bioas, what are some of the challenges you faced in the early stages of building bioas?
So after I exited Dynabite, I went and did a master's in business, an MBA, again, oldest person in the cohort. And while I was doing that, I really couldn't let go of the opportunity to try and provide that wellness and benefit that I saw in horses. Horses don't lie. There's no placebos. They either do look better or they don't.
Yeah.
And while I was doing my MBA, it was an itch I just could not stop scratching. I had to explore this more. And so I used my MBA to really create a business model that would take this. And I went back to the microbiologist and I said, can we make a children's drink that's healthy, that has the same health benefits in it? And that's where the startup began.
Yeah.
And challenges around that were huge. The Harvard microbiologist and biochemist, he's in his 80s, and he gave me a million reasons why we couldn't do this. And I said, can we just have a go? And we did spend the next 3 or 4 years building out the research and development needed to make this children's drink.
Right. And
probably the oldest startup.
Yeah, I think you were saying you were the oldest group of startups that there are, and everyone actually just sort of took you for granted until you actually really started making a presence. Is that a thing?
I actually think there's an invisibility around older people. Sometimes I've certainly experienced it across different, contexts and frameworks as an individual, but also I think as a startup, we have, I think our average age of our the co-founders is around 60. So,
because
I think we went to the front. We definitely went to the radar.
It's probably not a bad thing to be under the radar, because when you do think of startups, you think of these young kids that have just got this great idea and they're off in a world of IT and AI and everything else. And yes. So can you share some of the challenges you faced in the early stages of building bioas, and how did you overcome them?
That's a really good question. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges in starting a new business, but particularly I think we're probably one of the oldest startup groups in Australia. On average age, it's around 60. Our microbiologist and biochemist, he's one of our founders, is in his 80s, and she's in her 60s, as am I. So probably a little bit of invisibility when we were trying to reach out, startups by the nature of being entrepreneurs, reach out for help and collaboration, and some of the challenges around that. But I think also we were really in this space. We're not IT, we're not AI, we're not SaaS. We had this biotech concept that had never been achieved before, and it's a little complex to understand. So explaining our story has also been a bit of a challenge. Also, I think what we wanted to achieve had never been achieved in the world before, and that is getting probiotics to survive robust manufacturing processes that are designed specifically to kill them. And from a scientific point of view, the challenges, we've climbed Mount Everest effectively.
So there's 3 people involved in the company, is that correct? So you've got a microbiologist and yourself, and who's the other person, and specific roles within it?
Yeah. So we call that, we don't really use the word founder anymore. We've got a leadership team. And so Harvey is a biochemist, microbiologist. He's our sage. He's an incredible scientist. Lynette is also a scientist, but has a marketing degree as well, which is an unusual combination. Yeah. But she's fantastic. And her superpower is she's worked in the skin health and skincare industry and research. So she drives a lot of the topical science and application. We have Jeff Flood, who's very strategic, he's a strong advisor, but also a scientist. So again, we've got some powerhouse people. And also Ian Youngman, who's been with us since day one. And Ian is ex-Diageo with an FMCG background and global distribution and business development background. He's lived in the US and Japan and the UK. So we've really got a very strong team.
Yeah, with really good key strengths as well to bring a company forward. So let's get into bioas, because it is unusual. It's and synbiotics. You might have to explain what that is for all of us.
Yeah, so synbiotics are a blend of prebiotics, which probiotics and postbiotics. So prebiotics are fibers and other molecules that beneficial probiotics like to digest and produce metabolites that help us in our wellness journey. So they're effectively the fuel for probiotics. Postbiotics are organisms that are inanimate, so they're either dead or they're the metabolites that they've produced that also have health benefits. This is very rapidly evolving and expanding knowledge in the scientific community. And probiotics, I think most people are learning and are familiar with, that are live organisms that we ingest that are beneficial for our health and wellness. We have, it's all about our microbiome. So we have several kilograms of organisms in us and on us that are beneficial to us. Without them, we'd actually be dead. Yeah. What they do is produce metabolites and biochemical reactions and physiological interactions with our body that are essential for us to stay alive. So
we're talking the gut, aren't we?
Yeah. And the skin. You know, your skin is also dependent on a microbiome.
Because we hear a lot about the gut being the second brain, and there's a lot of emphasis now on your microorganisms in your brain and in your stomach, I should say, and how we should be, it's becoming a thing, and we're hearing a lot more about that now.
Absolutely. And look, the interesting thing, Stella, is this. We as humans have always had an innate knowledge that a connection with nature is essential for our wellness and well-being. So centuries ago, by default, we were growing our own food, eating it out of the garden, milking our cows. We weren't sanitizing our foods and our families. We weren't sanitizing our world. And we had a natural connection with the resource abundance and diversity, the biodiversity essential for wellness. Now we cook all our food, cook all our beverages in factories, put them on the shelf without refrigeration so that there's nothing in them that's sterile. So we've got rid of all the bad organisms that would potentially spoil the food or make us sick, but we also got rid of all the good ones that we should be ingesting as part of our everyday diet. So instead of that, we're supplementing. What we've done is worked out how to build that wellness back into foods and beverages with organisms that will survive our stomach acids and bile salts. The supplemented probiotics don't necessarily do that. People don't talk about it, but actually a lot of those organisms don't have the protection they need to get through our stomach acid, which is designed to kill organisms. And that pathway to get to our colon, which is where you need these organisms, our colon is where the magic happens. So they germinate in our colon. And most of it's particularly not non-dirt-based organisms. Dirt-based organisms are organisms that generally have a protective coating that will get through all of these processes in your gut. What no one's been able to do is get them to get through pasteurization, pressure sterilization, all of the different things we do to our foods and beverages to keep them food safe. Also kill everything.
Yeah.
We'll fix that. We now can provide a blend of pre, pro, and post, and the blend is very, very important for the overall efficacy and the benefits. That will get through all of those processes and get through our digestive tract and get to our colon and germinate and benefit the whole microbiome.
Wow.
So that's symbiotic.
Okay. So the challenge as a layman, I thought might have been that up to now, nobody's been able to create a wellness product that could sustain the pre and postbiotics, and because they couldn't stabilize it as that process. Is that correct?
Yes. So there's several complexities to this. Absolutely correct. We put our products, we can put our symbiotic blends in liquids that have other carbohydrates that would, in theory, fuel the beneficial organisms that we put in that formulation, and they don't, so it remains stable, so it doesn't blow up on the shelf, it doesn't get active and germinate. It only gets active when it's in our colon. But also, we've been able to, as I said, survive the processes, and not just overnight, not just for a month, but for 2 or 3 years in high water activity environments, or in environments with other carbohydrates and sugars and things that should cause instability, and it remains stable. So we have beverages that have remained stable for over 3 years with sugarcane juice and other juices in it, and our ingredient. You can open it, and those organisms that we put in our symbiotic blend are still there and still waiting to do their job in the colon.
So no more do I have to keep eating yogurt, is that correct?
Yeah, and yogurt's
I can keep eating it, but yeah.
All right. But again, I think that if you were to expose some of the beneficial organisms that are in yogurt to the stomach acids and the pH environments that are in our tract, they would probably not survive that journey.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you started off as a beverage company in BioAs, but you've extended that. So can you talk to us about that extension? So you started with one product, and now what products are you in?
Well, this is an interesting one, because with my beverage background, and we knew that we could get a stable liquid. So we ran in December 2020, we produced 20,000 units across different flavors of a symbiotic children's drink, and we called it Tummy Buddies. And that was who we were going to be. Right. And then very quickly we were saying, oh, we could do gummy buddies. We can put this in toothpaste for children. We could do, all these different things with this science, this technology that no one else has ever done. And I remember thinking about this when I was out for a walk, and I suddenly realized that we had discovered something so unique. We couldn't take all these ideas to market. We shouldn't even take Tummy Buddies to market. We should focus on the science and expanding how we can build this science, not just for drinks, but for skincare, for wound healing, for oral health, all of these different science projects that we could start to research and develop. So I rang our scientist, Hub, and I said, Hub, we're not a drink company, are we? We're a research and development company. And he said, I knew you'd work it out. So we sold Tummy Buddies. We sold that brand, and that is now coming to market. And we really focused on our science. So we focused on what else can we do to bring beneficial wellness in product applications that could be every day. So we now make and sell through our distribution partners ingredients that can go into skincare creams, that can go into food and protein bars, that can go into pet food, horse feed, drinks, cereals, toothpaste. We have 30 brands on the market now across all of those different things. There's toothpastes, there's beautiful skincare products out there that have got our symbiotic ingredient in, that are doing amazing things for people. There's all these different companies that have embraced our science and to build better for you products. That's where we're at now.
Wow. So did you keep biotic and water? Is that still one of the cores that you maintain? You did, yeah.
And what we did, and we developed a perfectly clear symbiotic water. Again, something that's never been done in the world. It's pasteurized, it's sparkling, it's beautiful, and it's got a symbiotic ingredient that really helps people. The reviews on our website are astounding. And we decided to take that one brand to market because it's a lighthouse for our technology. Yeah. Only Biotica water has that particular ingredient in it, but it demonstrates what can be done. and we kind of fell in love with it. So probably
it's your baby. Yeah,
it
it's a baby.
Commercially, it's a very value add for the business. We've got a BioAs logo on that label, and other manufacturers have followed suit and put our logo on their label to identify that we've got, the efficacy of the hero ingredient. So it is a really lovely product, the world's best spring water with the world's best symbiotic ingredient.
So where do you buy that product? Where can you purchase it?
So we've just launched, we've rolled out, there are some outlets on the coast and up and down the east coast of Australia. It's in its early days. We have a licensee for that product. So we have a company called Juicy Isles that has a large beverage business, and they're the licensed manufacturer and distributor of biotical water. And again, we've just signed up a licensee in New Zealand, and we're talking to companies in the States. So that will roll out globally. Yeah. But online, we have quite a strong following, bioticalwater.com. And we sell a lot online as well.
So I'll make sure we put our, the links underneath underneath this podcast. But one of the partners that you managed, that you are actually working with is Dola. And they are one of your distributors, aren't they? But they're a global distributor, aren't they?
Yes. So Dola's a global distributor, and we're having conversations with their offices across different countries' jurisdictions. So Dola are very supportive of this journey. They have been working with us with different food tech aspects of support and resource along the way. We now have a team of food scientists in our team. So we've got some very experienced scientists in our team. But Dola have been really supportive from day one. And so it's really good to work with global companies like Dola, and we have other companies that we're working with and in conversations with globally as well.
So Maryann, just off the top of my head, how do you ensure that quality control?
Good question. So we work with really, really superior partners in our manufacturing process. So we are in the process of building out our own manufacturing facility, but we work with highly accredited companies that have TGA standards and quality. Yeah. And we have our own food science and food tech team. So our technical manager will be on site at every production, and we have very strict quality control programs and GMP systems in our company internally. And we only work with accredited, either GMP, HACCP accredited companies, or in animal industry, we work with APVMA, which is the veterinary equivalent of TGA. So we've built ourselves as a very disciplined company from day one. Even when there were 2 or 3 of us in it, we've set systems that were robust enough to, pipeline big enough for huge projects. So I think perhaps that's one of the advantages of being an older group. We're very pragmatic. We've been in business before. We know what we need to do. We've got the skill sets amongst us to do what needs to be done and execute with discipline. Yeah. So I think, those things are never taken for granted.
How big's your team now, Maryann?
There's 11 in our team. Wow. So, and we need more people. Yeah. We're actually in the capital raise, and, we're ready to scale again. Yeah. And we need to build that team out. So that's part of the process right now.
So how does BioAs differentiate itself in the market of symbiotic ingredients?
Yeah, so I think firstly, there's probably there's not a company that is really focused on symbiotic food and beverage ingredients or symbiotic ingredients for animal health and topical and cosmeceutical wellness. We focus on the efficacy of our products, the health benefits they deliver. And one of the things that we're finding now is that the companies that do use our ingredients actually are coming to us and saying, can we put your logo on our label? And of course they can. And that's intel inside. It's a strategy that we adopted with Biotica, and we encourage companies to do. A lot of companies are now redesigning their packaging to tell the BioAs story through either wording or logo, and on their websites as well. So it's important because the processes that are used in manufacturing these products are designed to kill organisms, all organisms, whether they're beneficial or harmful. That's the point of having that type of process in manufacturing. And as we built out our different products, so we don't have one symbiotic blend, we have 9 or 10 symbiotic blends now that our team have worked on and focused on, and we'll be building and developing more. It's important that we work with our customers to make sure that we know and understand their processes. And that's what our team does. They are an end-to-end support. So BioAs is not just an ingredient supplier. We work with our customers on new product development. So we provide technical support in our food science lab. We'll replicate the processes, do stability trials and all of that work. And then at the other end, we work with their team to explain the story so they can help with their storytelling for marketing, and also the manufacturing process. We'll be on site if they want us there for the first production runs. We want to set our customers up for success from the beginning of the process through to how to clean their equipment. So we've focused on building a team out that could manage all of those conversations and do that hard work for customers. So it's not a barrier to entry.
Wow. So it's a total holistic approach, but it also ensures that your company or the product stays at the top of the market as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that credibility piece.
Yeah, 100%. And as I said, we want to set our customers up for success. So we're very collaborative.
Yeah.
We work in lots of other collaborations with companies that have particular ingredient technology that would enhance, or we would enhance the wellness outcome for consumers. That's our focus, is real benefits for people that really feel the benefit of having a product with our ingredient in. So we're engaged in new product development and collaborations with companies that have specialised skills across other supplement formulations. And we're connecting with these companies and we're building powerful wellness products together, which is really exciting.
So, Maryann, if I'm going out there trying to buy a product, and I obviously everyone wants something that's really going to enhance our wellness, how do I know that it has your product in it, that it does have that BioAs product in it? How would I know that? What would I look for?
Well, that's a great question. So, as I said, a lot of the companies now are putting our ingredient on their panel and calling it BioAs, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But other companies choose not to, or they just describe the ingredients in the ingredients list. I think more and more as companies start to see the benefit of calling out the hero ingredient as BioAs, you'll be able to identify it.
Yeah.
It's early days and it's a minefield for consumers to read labels and try and out what's good for them and what may not be so well for them. So I think the story that brand owners are now telling on their labelling is becoming more and more important, and we want to be part of that.
So with your focus on new ingredients, how does BioAs balance the need for product commercialization with the priority of advancing your scientific research in the fields of symbiotics? So you were saying you took a look back and you go, hang on, we're at R&D, we're at science, we're not a product developer. But at the same time, part of that is that commercialization of that product as well. So how do you do that priority? How do you work that?
That's a great question, Stella. Our company has a science team.
Right.
We have 6 people out of our 11 people have science degrees.
Right.
We have clear deliverables across the team. They all work together as a team and they have really great creative meetings. So we encourage creativity across our science team. That's very important to our business.
Yeah.
But putting the deliverables, the outcomes, we have a team that are very R&D oriented and looking at organisms that should be in our ingredients, that should be part of our symbiotic blend, and how are we going to get those organisms through those processes? Where are we going with that? What what those blends should be, what other substrates, what other fibers, what other vitamins and minerals will interact with our organisms to amplify health benefits. That's that's a really exciting universe that we're. But also we have a very clear technical team, and our MPD and technical manager is very focused on taking the creative side and then applying it in real life, real commercial, real life applications, putting it through thermomixes and high shear environments.
Got one of those.
Cooking it, baking it, boiling it, doing all of the things that consumers and manufacturers would do, and then signing off and saying, hey, we've had a positive outcome. We can put it in chocolate. We could put it in this. So then we go through our distributor partners and present to chocolatiers and present to peanut butter companies and all of those sort of opportunities. So we do have a clear pathway from the creative science to validate science through our own research and development, through to a commercial application, validating the stability and efficacy of that, and then taking it to market.
And something you just said then too was about that, looking at the vitamins and minerals and the interaction of it. And I was listening to Dr. Georgia Eade, and she was talking about how, we eat oysters for, the iron or the zinc, but if you ate oysters with a tortilla, you're getting, you're not absorbing it. Left on its own, you get 80%. Eating it with something else that doesn't marry with it will actually put it into a negative. So it's also about that. How does it interact, and how do we get the benefit? Like all of us are scooping down vitamin D tablets faster than we can blink. But how do we, and yet we still have a deficit in our what we're carrying. So there's that piece too. And as you say, that's exciting, isn't it? To work out how that interacts.
Absolutely. And there's, a lot of anthocyanins and all these different antioxidants, which are really good for us, but in the presence of some of the organisms that we use in certain, blends, that absolutely amplifies the benefit. So it is about looking at what organisms interact with what other beneficial, as I said, vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, antioxidants. There's all these different parts, the biochemistry. That's the biochemistry that goes on in our colon, and how we can amplify. And that's why there's synbiotics with an N, because it's a synergistic blend. So we're looking for synergies across all the different things that we eat and put on us and have around us. Our environment really dictates our wellness. So
I've got to say congratulations too, because BioAs Cosmeceuticals, I got it, has been named a finalist in the 2024 Alley Cosmetics and Toiletries Awards, and that's a historic first for an Australian ingredient company. You must be incredibly impressed with that. Like it seems like it's well deserved. So talk to us about what that process is and where you get to.
I think, it's just a wonderful recognition for our team that's developed this symbiotic ingredient for cosmeceutical, and it's a beautiful blend of 5 ingredients that we've blended together in a way that will survive and remain stable in creams, wound healing sprays, and we're very proud. I'm to be ingredients in the category, so we're honoured just to be a finalist. If we win, that would be amazing. But we'll take the kudos of being a finalist.
Absolutely.
What we have now is I think we have 6 brands, skincare brands that are using our symbiotic, and we've got a lot of projects in that pipeline. We've been working with different groups of people with psoriasis and eczema and rosacea and things like, those sort of conditions that are really painful and very uncomfortable. And we've been getting outstanding results. And the more we're talking with dermatologists and skincare professionals, and the more people that we're just making up base creams and putting our ingredient and giving it to people that have got skin issues, and the before and after photos they're sending us are compelling. So we're really excited about this product. We know we can change people's lives for the better with it. You know, I know people who have been struggling with it, it's not all their life, and never been able to get a solution, and all of a sudden they have an answer to their problem. So we're really excited about commercialising this product because we know people are going to have better lives for it. As with our other ingredients, we've already got the feedback. We know it makes people with wellness, but yeah, this is something that you can see very quickly.
Wow. So the application for it spans lots of different uses, doesn't it? I mean, the sky's the limit on what the use is for.
We
from a racehorse, from a sick racehorse through to
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
We've been working with some horse sanctuaries with our equine, both for a supplement for horses as they recover from maltreatment, but also wound care, and we're seeing a wonderful result. So you can see why we can't be a beverage company or a skincare company or a food company. We're a science team, have created and will create more applications and formulations that are going to help people and animals in their lives and their journey.
So let's recap. You started off life as a beverage company. You spent, I don't know, quite a few years doing that. Then you became a thoroughbred racehorse trainer, and you did that for 13 years. How long have you been in this with bioas?
Okay, so I would say that the science journey and the inquisitive into this microbiome started 10 years ago. But BioAvailable itself, or the company that we are, it started 2020, early 2020.
Yeah.
Probably should have come to life a bit earlier in that we were working on this. We've been working on this project as a team since 2017.
See, this is the story too, isn't it? It just doesn't automatically get an idea and go, yes, well, let's just do it. You had, what, 3 years? 3 years running before you actually developed in 2020, and then you took it as a company forward.
Yes.
So there is all that groundwork, isn't there?
There's a huge amount of groundwork. This is why probably, this hasn't been achieved before, because people just thought it couldn't be achieved. And there have been a lot of hurdles, a lot of research. And again, once we achieved it, we had to prove that it would benefit people. We believed it. We saw it benefited animals, but we had to see how we could get it through to a journey where we could provide that wellness benefit and prove it to people. So there's been a large amount of research and development internally, and we didn't know what we didn't know either. So
So Maryann, how did you get to that proving part? How did you prove it for the TGA? Like, how did you go from that?
We're not TGA registered, so we've used the regulatory framework as our pathway to commercialisation. So we are and have done now food standard compliance, wellness, food health related claims. So we've 9 claims published with the Food Standards Australia New Zealand website, and that was a lot of research that our team did. That regulatory environment enabled us to launch and go to market with our food and beverage ingredients, our pharmaceutical ingredient, our equine ingredient.
Yep.
The next level, which is more nutraceutical and associated claims, we're in that stage 2 phase now, and we're working with other companies that have expertise in nutraceuticals, and we're combining our collaborative knowledge and developing opportunities for us and for other companies across that more specific or special purpose food type products, and going again, not to market with our brands, but providing the technology, the biotech for other companies to incorporate, and also our biochemistry knowledge and collaborating with their science teams. So that's in that listed TGA space and nutraceutical space.
Yep.
The next level, which is TGA and medicinal, if we possibly could discover something that is very clearly a medicinal invention or innovation, we'll partner with higher learning institutes and larger pharma companies. We'll go to them and say, we've discovered this. We think this will cure cancer. We think this will cure a specific disease.
Yeah.
We'll take that too. But we certainly wouldn't want to be that company that spends tens of millions of dollars and eye-wateringly long projects to get a pharma product to market. That's not.
That makes sense.
We're focusing on the 80% of the population that will respond with a beneficial wellness outcome to our biotech.
Wow. Well, all that's happening right here on the Gold Coast. This is the most amazing place. This is, we just have some amazing companies and innovative companies. And so why the Gold Coast, Maryann? Just because it's a wonderful place, let's face it. But why? Yeah.
Well, look, I guess initially because I lived here and Lynette lived here.
There you go. That's a good reason.
So by default initially. But I remember driving past what had just closed as the village for the Commonwealth Games, and I saw this big sign go outside Cohort. And I was still studying at Bond University at that point, but I was working on building out this business as part of my cornerstone subject. And
so it's worthwhile mentioning that all through this, you were doing an executive MBA at Bond University just because you had spare time, I take it. Not.
Actually, when I exited the equine supplement industry and the racing industry, I thought, what am I going to do? And I decided to do an MBA. I'd always wanted to do one. I spoke to her and said, you've done one in your life. Just forget the letters. But that wasn't true. I learned a lot. And I went nannying at the time so I could focus on my studies. And my kids said I was living the life of a 20-year-old going to uni and nannying. But I took that as an opportunity to really build the foundation of what I wanted to do. Building the team that I wanted to join me, and I very quickly became me. There's been a team from that point on. But I decided when I was driving past, I saw this big cohort sign go up, and I thought, I'm just going to pop in and see what that's all about. And I went and had a look, and I went, not yet. This is where we're going to be. So COVID put us all at home and under the doona for a year.
Yes, it did.
As soon as that changed, I went to Cohort and we got a hot desk. And then we went from the hot to an office with 3 desks, but 4 of us kept coming in at the same time. So we moved upstairs to a laboratory, and then we took another laboratory and another office. And that's where our team have been doing the magic the last couple of years. So we've been really fortunate to be able to launch ourselves in Cohort, and obviously we'll launch out of it as well as we scale.
So what is it about the Gold Coast? It's certainly a place where you can develop your ideas and your businesses, but personally to you, what keeps you on the Gold Coast?
Well, I think what we've experienced at Cohort is the collaborative nature of the other companies that are growing out of there. And I think there's definitely a focus on health tech, which is great. And in fact, all our initial laboratory work and fermentation work was done by a resident biotech company there. And so we were on site, but we were engaging other companies to do our work. We built that capability internally and took it back in as we could.
So the whole collaboration piece was an important piece of collaboration, and that gave you the environment to find those collaborators.
Absolutely.
That's perfect.
Our legal team now is a cohort-based team. We call out on other companies as we can. It's our first go-to. And also, I think, Estella, even this podcast and the opportunity to share our story, we've been able to interact with local, state and federal government and Regional Development Australia and all these other organisations that have brought us together with other companies in the ecosystem. Back to the challenges, I think we were invisible in that ecosystem in the early days because potentially of our age. But once we did start to pop our head above water and say we're here and this is what we're doing, we were really warmly embraced, and that's benefited us. And I hope we've provided value back to other companies in the ecosystem.
Yep, definitely. Definitely. Maryann, look, I'm blown away by everything you've said and what you've done in your life. And you're only so young. You've achieved so much. So
I should be retiring.
yeah, so no, I'm thinking maybe after the Coke I might have retired myself, but you've obviously got a lot of passion. You're doing it for the right reason. You can make a big difference to people's lives. I mean, we're all very conscious now of what we're putting in our body and how we treat our body. We have to be. We realize that now. So it's been absolutely wonderful speaking with you. I would probably like to revisit with you in about 8 months' time or 6 months' time to see what the next reiteration is and where you're taking all this, because it's just exciting. And as I also said, we'll make sure we put the links down below. But for now, thank you so much for sharing your story and being on my podcast.
Well, thank you, Stella. It's been great talking with you. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell our story.
You're most welcome. Thanks for listening today. For a complete list of podcast episodes and transcripts, go to rdagoldcoast.org.au/podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter.